If you've been involved in martial arts in any capacity, you've probably heard somebody say something along these lines. If I was in a self-defense situation, I would use a palm heel strike because it's an immediate kill. I would probably use a side oblique kick and take their knee off of their leg. What is that? I feel like there's so many myths and like fallacies in martial arts that I kind of want to address today. Some of them are super obvious, like the idea of Frank Dux in general. And some of them are less obvious and I feel like need to be said. And before we get started, it's important you guys know this video is sponsored by Soundcore and their awesome noise canceling headphones. Focus, 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 ta-da! We'll talk more about that later. Okay, so the first one we've already mentioned, we're gonna talk about the palm heel strike, like this one, but not about like the strike in general. Like you can hit stuff with it, but the idea that you could send the cartilage and bone of someone's nose up into their brain. I feel like we've tested this by accident in things like MMA. Like we've seen nose breaks to the worst degree. And yet we have not seen any singular instance of a sniffer going into a thinker. It hasn't happened once. Now granted, we've seen some bad boys just get straight up Voldemorted, but yet no brain injuries from that, obviously. A couple weeks ago I was watching a video and a person was like, I don't think that I could do a palm heel strike and kill somebody if they were trying to attack me. I just don't know if I have it in me. Well, first off, like if somebody was fight back. But second off, that you think that it's as easy as that? You think that the process of defending yourself is as easy as this? That's not how any of this works. One time I was teaching a self-defense class. The person was like, this kind of hurts my palm when I punch things because of my nails. Do you have anything I could do for that? I don't know. Not worry about your nails if you're being attacked. Like that's the least of your problems. But that's definitely the same type of person that says like, oh, palm heel strike to the nose. Super silly. Number 2, let's jump into the karate sphere. If you get your black belt in martial arts, you have to go to the state and register your hands and feet as lethal weapons. Do you think anybody fell for that? Do you think anybody went to like a courthouse and was like, excuse me sir, I'd like to get a weapons registration? Yeah, okay, did you complete the course? Yes, I got my black belt. Who are you looking at? I've gotten my black belt in Taekwondo and I think it's time that I get my hands and feet registered as weapons. Have you had some sort of experimentation done where guns are now your hands and feet? Well, no, but I'm really good at kicking, so then it's super not necessary. Everyone has hands and feet. The idea of you testing for your black belt and then being like, the culmination of all my knowledge has led me to this point. Crap, now I have to get registered with the state. Like, do you have to go to the DMV for that? Is it like a concealed carry thing? Can you not put your hands in your pockets anymore? What happens if you drive through a school zone? Are you allowed to fly with your hands and feet? Or is it like, do they become detachable and you have to ship them some other way? What happens if you like are a churchgoer? Well, I guess if you live in Texas, it doesn't matter. Just the whole process of like registering your hands and feet as weapons. How does anybody fall for that? Myth number 3, that you can condition your chin getting punched or hit in the chin to make you less likely to be knocked out, or I guess your head in general. Pretty much the one that I'm going for is all of the people that you see that are getting like punched in the head for conditioning. I feel like it's a little counterproductive. Essentially owning a house that's on a fault line for an earthquake and then being like, to keep the earthquake from destroying our house, I think what we shall do is take a sledgehammer and just destroy the base to prepare it. It doesn't make any sense. I think there are ways to like make you less likely to get knocked out, but it all has to do with your neck and probably pretty minimal. Just, oh, hey, what's up? No, sorry, I couldn't hear you. I had my noise canceling headphones in while I was trying to do the math on why people think sidekicks work. In fact, these noise canceling headphones are today's sponsor, Soundcore. These Life A2NC noise canceling headphones that have been awesome. Fun fact, a lot of the time I train outside and our neighbor's got a dog that loves to hate me for whatever reason. There's nothing I can do about it. But having these noise canceling headphones means I can listen to music and not hear the dog at all. I can just listen to what I'm listening to and get my training in. So along with the noise cancellation and the amazing bass and sound that it has, I can also take one out and hear the outside world. They've got an app where I can switch how much noise cancellation it has. I can have situational awareness, hear things, and also be listening to music. And super clear calls. Like, these things have 6 mics in them, so if you're having a phone conversation with someone, it doesn't have to sound like you're in, I don't know, a scuba tank. And then lastly, I mentioned I use these while I'm training. Watch this, I figured this out. I don't know why you would ever do that, but they're not coming out, so that's cool. But anyway, if you're interested in Soundcore's Life A2NC headphones, you can find a link down below. Thank you again for sponsoring this video. And to say thank you to you guys, they gave me 2 extras, so I'm going to be doing a giveaway. If you comment down below your favorite myth in martial art, I'll be picking 2 people to give these headphones away to. Let's get back into the video. Bam! Most of you have probably seen the movie Bloodsport, right? I'd imagine some of you already know where I'm going with this. And if you don't, I'm sorry, this is gonna hurt a little bit. At the end of the movie Bloodsport, we see this credit that says something along the lines of, this movie was based off of the real life of Frank Dux, who won 372 fights in 17 and a half days, and then came out of the Kumite in the Bahamas with the World Championship trophy that he made himself. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. Long story short, how likely does that seem? There have been like tons of accusations of like, oh, the trophy store came out and said that he purchased a trophy from them and they have like a receipt. And then there's also the thing that's like, it was supposed to be in the Bahamas, but the Bahamas was like, this isn't a big place. We would have known about a 100-man kumite or like some stupid amount of people all fighting in the woods. Like, we would know about that. I would look it up. Myth number 4 and 5, it's 2-part myth. The idea that your size and strength doesn't play a role in martial arts. Me big and strong, me can't fight because I'm too muscly. I'm not as big and strong as you, but I know martial arts, so I'll kick your butt. Both of those things don't make a ton of sense. Why would physicality in something that is rooted in being physical not play a part? The main myth that has to do with being big and strong is that you would get winded or tired or gassed easy. And that mostly stems from like the insecurity of bodybuilders and dudes who lift in general that are like, oh yeah, I'm big and strong so I can fight. Like, that's not necessarily true, but you're not worse off by being strong. Then on the opposite, you have the dudes who are smaller and say, oh, I could beat anybody up in a fight because I know a rear naked choke. Like, it helps, but it's not like everything. Like, somebody could still throw you if they wanted. They could just grab you and throw you. I get a lot of comments that are like, Shaolin monks are the best fighters of all time. Okay, first off, let's say this. Shaolin monks are incredibly dedicated to their art. That is 100% true. They spend all day grinding, working on their martial art, which is usually designed to work on forms, aesthetic, and then also body conditioning, and conditioning in general. It's a huge part. The whole process of the Shaolin monk training seems to be based off of making the body stronger at this point. Like, they're not in fights as much. Now, maybe they spar behind closed doors, but I can't hardly find anything that says they spar or that they like apply their training. You know, like it's really easy to find the Muay Thai and be like, oh, they're competing on a regular basis, like they are fighting each other, they're practicing fighting. We don't really see that so much coming out of those guys, but yet, here's where I have the issue, here's where the myth is that people are overwhelmingly biased towards the idea that these guys would whoop anybody. That's where I have the problem. Because they practice 24/7 and they exclude themselves from everybody else. I don't super buy into that. That doesn't mean that they're not incredibly hardworking, probably very, very good people in general, but I think that you are doing them a disservice by that level of like, oh, you know, when in all actuality, they're just like trying to do their thing. Okay, our next one has to move on to Okinawa. A lot of their weaponry has a huge myth behind it that it comes based off of farming tools. That's not true. And actually, I'm not even going to talk much about this one because my boy Jesse Enkamp has an awesome video. One of the many examples is like the rice farming tool, the nunchucks, right? Not rice farming tools at all. I'm going to let Jesse talk more about that one. If you want to go find his video, you can. I'll link it right here. Now the last one I think is actually super important and not a lot of people pay attention to. Boxing headgear's purpose is not to protect the brain. Okay, really quickly, here's how brain damage works. Head shake, brain shakes inside of it, designed to protect your brain from falling out, not from rattling around each other. Football player until I was 22, I'm aware of the brain problems. And a lot of people think that this headgear is going to stop brain trauma, so they like go super hard on people with helmets because they feel a false sense of security with the other person's safety. But in all actuality, that's not the case. Headgear is designed to protect your actual face, the things on the outside from getting cut and beat up, not the things on the inside. Even the Olympic Boxing Association doesn't use headgear anymore. I've got an article that I linked down below that talks about how headgear in the Olympic boxers actually increases the odds of brain damage. Like, that's kind of wild. Most brain damage comes from repeated blows too. Like, one is pretty bad, but then it gets really bad once you start ramping those up. And when you have headgear, it gives that false sense of security that allows people to go da-dum, 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 da-dum. And it's scary. It's not a good thing. And part two, a lot of people who aren't like super involved in martial arts think that boxing gloves are designed to protect the other person's head. But most of the part, they're just designed to protect hands. Anyway, that's my rant on myths in martial arts. Don't forget that if you want to win this giveaway, comment down below your favorite myth in martial arts, and I might just pick you. Until next time, peace! Palm strike. You thought I was going for the trachea, didn't you?